Hello, I am back now. Sorry that took a little longer than an hour. I think I ended up setting an hour and a half, and I about made it. It's about 10 minutes off, but I'm back now. Alright. And we're going to move. Yeah, we're already losing some of the detail here. We don't want that. If need be, I can also sand and grind the clay afterward. That's not something I typically do, but I've seen a lot of artists do that, so I can also potentially do that. Because I don't think there's any way I'm going to get him to stand up on his own. So this is what we have so far. Like I said, I was filming the other video and I had to take a break and come back, and now this is the second video, same day, just a couple, like an hour and a half apart. I just didn't want to leave my video up AFK for whatever, an hour and a half, an hour and 40 minutes. So I don't think I could get him to stand up. I don't think he will. Even if I prop him up, I don't think it's going to happen. Okay. So the last thing that we need to do for this particular sculpture is just the wings that attach to the hands. One of the issues I have when I do wings is that when you do texture on one side and you flip it over, you smash the texture out on the side you just did when you do the new side. So I think I may try something a little different here. I may try something a little different. Let me lay him back down. I'm gonna put him a little bit out of somewhere out of the way. Oh, I accidentally smashed the eagle's nose, but I'll fix that when I bake it, so no worries. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut out 2 pieces of wing. I'm going to texture both and then I'm going to stick them together. I think that will be the safest way to protect the design that I'm going to do on each side. So let's go ahead and start with that. And I'm going to get my little razor blade cutter here. Now we still have to do the wheels, so we're not really done, but this will make the final portion of the main part of the cherubim, the main body. So we're almost finished the difficult part, and then we just have to do the wheels with eyes. That is the next portion. Which that should, I think, be simpler. Sometimes things appear to be simpler, and then when you actually start doing them, you realize they are not. Yes, that is perfect. Alright, so now that I have these 2 wing halves, we are going to cut I'm going to cut another set going the opposite direction, and then we'll texture both and we'll attach them to the arms, and then we'll be finished with the main figurine. And I will leave him to the side as we work on the wheels. Now, I don't think I will need to get more of my clay out, but I might have to. I'm just now noticing that. Let me roll out this piece of it. All right. Okay, so let's... Okay. And we're going to cut out... Trying really hard to not slice up my silicone mat, because I have completely destroyed all of my cooking ones by doing that. Okay. So we have our two sets of wings. We're going to put our clay. Yeah, I'll probably have enough clay. This one did, I mean, it's taking almost a full pound of clay. Maybe give or take a little, maybe actually more than that. So it's a decent amount of clay. I mean, it's kind of understandable considering how large it is and how many pieces are involved in all of that. But okay. And I'm using the same technique that I used prior, where I'm just pushing down really hard and dragging clay in so that it creates this sort of feathered texture. This is one of the easier ways to make wings. It's not quite as convincing, I think, as doing individual feathers, but I have not the patience to do that. I have done it before. I really don't want to do it again. Alright, so this is one side of the wing. We've got to do the other side. Okay. All right, so now, actually hold up. I want to also have giant eyeball spot here. And then potentially one near the shoulder blades in the back. Just touch up the edges here. Okay. Now we gotta do these eyeballs real quick. And then we'll attach this wing. And then we'll do the next wing. Slowly but surely. We are getting there. This is one of those things I was excited to start it. Well, I was nervous to start it. I'm enjoying how it's coming up, but now I'm very tired and I want it to be done. It's like the stages of artwork for me. Excitement in the planning, then the dread of actually doing it, because what if I can't do it? And then the actually doing it and enjoying it, and then being like, why am I still doing this? It should be finished by now. Okay. Okay. All right. I guess that works. I did not mean to drop him on the side like that, but it seems okay. Um, oh, I didn't mean to. Dang it. I didn't to mess that eyeball up. But I think I did. Okay. Gonna have to. This is the part that is very fragile. So I think I'm just gonna do texture to hide the seam because I can't really blend the seam without breaking what I've already sculpted. Oh, and that eye's just gonna be really squinty. So yeah, it didn't end up perfect, but we do still have the some of the feathered texture. I'm not as happy with the way the wings are attaching. But it'll have to do. Okay. That little eyeball on the shoulder blade is having some trouble. All right. We're going to lean our guy back down. We're going to do the other wing. All right, so this one goes like so. Since this is the interior wing, we're doing another big eyeball right there on the inside wing. And this is the other side. Okay. I'm not as happy with the wings. I mean, it probably would have looked better if I did each individual feather, but they would have also gotten smashed quite a bit. And it would have taken me a good 2 hours probably to do that. I think I did it once before with the Mothman sculpture that I did ages ago. And where did I put the one on the back? I think. Yes, okay. So right about there. I guess you could also do wings like in layers. That never occurred to me. That would probably be a faster technique. I might try that the next time I have to do wings. Like doing multiple layers of them. So like making a thin base and then just doing layers. Kind of like I do roof tiles on miniatures. That might have been a good compromise kind of technique. Alright, so we're going to do big eyeball real quick here. Then we're going to attach this wing, and then our main guy is complete. I believe. Yes, he is complete after that. Then we will be doing the wheels with eyeballs. And hopefully my canning lids will suffice. I think they will work just fine, but I think they'll work, but I'm not positive. I do think I'm going to take a bit of a brush over some of the wing pattern to give it more texture. I'm ruining the eyeball here too. I didn't mean to do that. All right. Okay. There we go. All right. So the question is the best way to protect him whilst I sculpt the other portion. I think I'm going to go ahead because I'm very concerned I'm going to ruin this. I will be back in just a second. I'm going to go ahead and prop this up in its baking dish because I am very concerned that it's going to get ruined. So I'm going to touch up a few details here. All right. So I'm very concerned it's going to get a bit ruined in sitting here. So I'm going to go prop it up in its baking dish. That will take me just a few minutes and I will be back. So bear with me. I will be back momentarily, but this is what we got so far. Hold on. Hello, I'm back. So I went ahead and put it downstairs in its baking dish so that it will be safe and I can't ruin it. I mean, I still could ruin it, but it will be safe for the time being. Now we get the delightful, potentially challenging section with the wheels. No, I don't think I read the introduction to the wheels, so I'll go ahead and look that up. While I cover these. So we read about the 4 living creatures, and we'd made one of them. All right. And as I looked at the living creatures, I saw a wheel on the ground beside each creature with its 4 faces. This was the appearance and structure of the wheels. They sparkled like topaz. No, some translations say beryl. I looked up the Hebrew word and apparently it is uncertain. It appears to be some sort of yellowish gem. So, sparkled like a yellow gem. Translators usually try to guess what type of gem, but they're not really sure. So they sparkled like a yellowed gem, and they all looked alike. There was one for each of the creatures. Each appeared to be made like a wheel intersecting a wheel. And they go in any of the four directions. So like the four living creatures, they don't change direction, they don't turn. There's one on each side and they just go this way, that way, or each direction. That's why it's assumed that it's two wheels like this. But they don't change direction. They just move straight forward. And the rims were high and awesome, and the four rims were full of eyes all around. Now, I was a little confused by the four rims, but I'm pretty sure that just means each side. Because there's only four wheels. Unless it meant the four rims of all four wheels, I suppose, could also mean that. And there's not a whole lot of description past that, but basically when the creatures move left, right, up, down, the wheels on the ground beside them follow them, and it says that the spirit of the creatures, the cherubim that we just made, was inside the wheels. Now, what exactly that means, I don't know. But that's what it says, so something along that. That's why I was kind of wondering why some people consider the wheels like a separate entity, because they very much seem to be a part of the cherubim. Now I just gotta smooth out this clay. The only issue with using these as the base is that I'm not sure how smooth I'm gonna be able to get it, because of the fact they have that lip on them. But we're getting there. And so to talk more about the description in Ezekiel 10, where they are once again mentioned, it mentions all the fire description again, the fact that they're all surrounded by fire, and he is told to grab fire from among the cherubim, specifically from among the wheels, and to grab a coal from among the wheels. So probably the most artistic license I'm going to take in this, with the whole like soul being inside the thing and then the fire and stuff, I am going to see if I can do a coal at the center of the wheels. That is my intent. I think that is well within the description. I think it fits, but that's probably the most like artistic interpretation I'm going to be doing. Everything else was pretty strict to the passage. So I'm going to do a rock in the center, which I will paint like fire, and then add, if I can get my resin effect to look like fire, I will add that, and that should help. Alright. Biggest issue is trying to get these smooth. Initially, I was going to do the eyes on the side, but I don't think I'm going to have enough space. So I may have to do the eyes on the edges. Not my original plan, but it works. So we're gonna flatten this again. And let's cover the smaller wheel real quick here. Then I'll stick them together and we'll try to make it look a little better. All right. Okay. So I think this will work. Okay. So now we're going to do the eyeballs. Okay, I think I'm gonna have it sit like this. This is gonna be the base, and we'll work on it with that in mind. All right. Now we make the eyeballs, and we are almost done. We do have to still do the little coal or rock that I'm gonna stick in the middle. All right. All right. Now we're going to do eyelids. So we still have to do the coal that I'm going to put in the center, and that's just going to look like a little lump of a rock. And then I will attach resin to it to make it look kind of like fire. Now it is unfortunate I can't show you the finished product all together, but my cherubim was falling to pieces, so I was scared to leave him just sitting. It was going to smash all the details that I did. But I will be back, of course, when we're painting, so next week he will be visible with the wheel, and I may, if I can't get him to stand with the wheel, I might do a stand, like a full base for him. I'm not sure yet, but very possibly. Because he's very fragile and he's going to be unbalanced, unfortunately. Because of the design and the wings being outward, I don't think there's a good way I could balance him without him. You know, he's just going to be incredibly fragile. So alright, now we got to do the little eyes, and then we're done. Other than a little coal piece, but that's not going to take me very long at all. All right, let me... All right. Let's do the other three. Okay. Almost done. And then I think I'm going to do like the beaten metal texture that I did the prior week with the copper golem. Where I just kind of do this a million times with different sizes. So I think we'll do that because I can't get the wheels perfectly smooth. I did almost think about 3D printing the wheels instead of sculpting them, but it didn't have the time. So we're just gonna do this so it looks kind of like beaten metal. That way if the wheels aren't perfectly smooth, it kind of feels like they're a bit rough looking anyhow. And it'll look cool when we do the metallic-ish. Of course, these aren't going to be metallic technically. They're going to be like a yellowy gem color. But I'm going to use some of my bright yellow metallic paints. I thought about having them almost transparent, like doing a resin copy of it, but I don't have the silicone to waste, unfortunately, to do that. So we're not going to be able to do that, but we are going to make it a yellowy, shiny yellowy color. And my metallic paints are pretty sparkly, so. Alright, so we have the wheel part of the cherubim is done. And now we're just going to make a little hunk of rock that's going to go in the center, and then I will do some fake fire on it. I'll try to make it look like fire. I have some cool yellowy fiery colored gemstones, so I think we could probably use that. The easiest way to make this look like coal or like a rock is to take a stiff paintbrush and do this. I don't know if it'll pick up the texture, but if you get a really stiff plastic brush and do this, it will give it a very pitted kind of rocky texture. And that's how I do most rock-based things, or rock textures. Okay. So now that we have the rock texture, that's going to go in the middle. And I'll have all sorts of like resin fire and such in it, sticking out of it. But there is our wheels of eyes. And we already did the full size of the cherubim, so that's done. I'm going to go bake these now. But hopefully you enjoyed this. If you did, please interact with it in some way. Let me know. You know, I will be finishing up next week. So if you want to stop by next week on Fridays, I usually start between 7 and 8 p.m. EST. I would greatly appreciate it. If you have any suggestions on things you'd like to see me sculpt, I do try to read all my comments. So I do pay attention the best that I can. And I've done a couple suggestions I've gotten already, but I will certainly be happy to add them to my list of things to do. But most of all, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful night.